From what I understand, science is just now catching up to things that we know already. They might learn something, whether it's to sit back and to listen harder, or to go into a meeting and listen to our elders talk about some of the things that are taking place right now. They'll learn something.
I think wisdom and intelligence are commonly confused, and it's an important distinction. You can have a great deal of intelligence, which can mean factual knowledge and data, but that's very different from wisdom, which in many ways is how you apply and learn from knowledge. We have plenty of examples of short-term thinking that did incredible damage to the environment, and we still deal with the consequences of that. We know the tribes were still practicing fire out there as late as the 1920s, 30s, 40s. Land management at that time was really anti-fire, and that doubtlessly had a lot to do with the end of traditional use of fire that we see on Stockton. There's an established fire history there, and you can see the effects of fire exclusion now. We're getting a lot of small understory species in an area that probably used to be very open pine.
We used to go out amongst the islands and pick blueberries. My father took us out there, and he'd tell me the stories of using fire as a tool to enhance the growth of a certain species, mostly blueberries, but also other species. It put new nutrients down into the soils. It took out some of the underbrush. It took out some of the older plants, so new generation comes through, and it worked really well.
What frequent fire return interval will do, low intensity, fast moving ground fires will help keep the understory under those red pine free of other tree species like the balsams and birch and things like that, and it'll make it basically better environment for blueberry and huckleberry.
Back in the day when my dad used to do it, they pretty much knew the only people that were out there, and they knew everybody was gone, and then they would light it up and burn one of the islands or part of the islands, or go around and burn sections of different islands. In our way, fire is a tool that's to be used, but you have to have respect for the area that you're going to use that on. If you do make a mistake, you jeopardize a lot. So there was a lot of planning or a lot of education that went into any time a burn was to occur. They knew the fire would burn this area to the waterfront, and that's as far as it goes because the conditions were favorable for that to occur.
As a cultural resource manager, I see the value in not only maintaining those traditions, but also helping to maintain representative sets of cultural landscapes, where landscapes show long-term human practices and effects on the land.
When it comes to the Stockton fires, I did visit it after the fact, and it was really good to see that back on the landscape and be able to tell some of our elders that, hey, it happened again. Maybe not to the magnitude that was once upon a time, but it did happen again. So that tool was being used out there to enhance, just like they were told or they participated in the past. So we were thinking 7 generations behind, 7 generations ahead. People have today's generation got to think, what are we doing today that's going to directly affect 7 generations from now? One drop in a bucket doesn't mean nothing. But over 7 generations, the bucket's going to overflow and some negativity may occur from that.
Looking ahead and looking back, things have changed. We're part of the changes taking place. With the next 7 generations ahead, I worry about that because they're never going to get that enjoyment that we had because it's going to be so changed. Creator gifted us this amazing life, but he gave us responsibilities with it also. The most important one is to be able to take care of the natural gifts that he gave us.